Orchard 1, I saw some builds going on, so changes from SIPK merging 110x into dev and fixing layout editor dialog positioning issue. So fixing one open issue. Okay, well, I see an issue that the editor was not showing correctly, so I assume that's the issue we fixed. That's good. Orchard 2. OrchardCore. More things here. So we have this we talked about last week. Format text blocks as text, fix typo we talked about last week. Kevin OpenIddict application consent APIs on dev, not on dev branch yet. Maybe after. Let me check out that. I think it has been merged because I don't see that PR anymore. So here, OpenIddict application consent API, and also updating to the RC2 final with the new APIs for that. This is a branch we are working on. I'll show you later. We'll talk about it. What is that? Yeah, this is a liquid branch. This on the dev branch update some module csproj files that were missing some links to module targets. Okay. This one, ServiceScopeWrapper, it's an optimization of how the service scope is instantiated with background tasks. It's done correctly. Get rid of module manifest files. This is a big PR that will break everyone if you have a module. The idea is that we merge the fact that we don't have text manifest files anymore. We use a custom C# file, C# class, not even a class, a C# file that will contain assembly attributes, like module attribute describing a module. And if you have only a single feature, it will also describe your feature. And you also have, let me get an example, a feature attribute. Where is that? Here for sure. No. Nowhere. Yes, here. If you have many features, then, or you want optional features or optional services to be enabled only on a feature and not on a module, then there is also a feature attribute, and this ID is mandatory. It took me a while to figure out what was missing for me, and don't forget about the ID, but Jean-Thierry will now throw an exception if you provide a feature without the ID property. That will be nicer. So that's how you build now a module. You don't need to create a manifest text file for manifest, and there is module and theme. So if we take a theme, for instance, you see the theme attribute. So that's how you mark or you tag a project to be a module also. Then go to the current version of .Net Core SDK. Yes, so updating a link to the SDK. And the SDK version doesn't match the runtime version. Okay, so 2.1.4 is the SDK version, the latest available. OrchardCore.IdGeneration and updating usage. So SIPK moved the content item ID generation, or the ID generation actually, in the entities project. ID generator. This is a workflow branch, and this is liquid branch. This is fixed search in readthedocs. Okay. String length limit of assembly attribute parameter. So there was an issue if you had too many static files in your module. Now it's fixed. Fixing YesSql bugs. There were bugs with paging and sorting. So I fixed it in YesSql and I updated the dependencies props. Also, a change I made after that is now I don't have to publish a NuGet YesSql anymore because the YesSql feed is linked from the Orchard myGet feed. The same we do for ASP, for OpenIddict, and image sharp. This is the liquid branch. Then luceneWritter, which has been merged, I think. Yes, later, so we'll see that. Fix preview no scrolling on Safari from Jasmin. Okay. Gently fixing some issue on the setup by marking some fields are required, but they're fixing setup form filling. So if you don't provide an email address, it won't break the setup. And he also fixed that, some concurrency issues with the Lucene service that will lock the index in some scenarios, so now it's fixed. And this is the branch I've been working on with Jean-Thierry about liquid. Initially it was about the layout tag, but it expanded to more things in liquid. I will show you right after that. Do we have more people to join? No, so no demo today. No Nick, no Sipke, no demo. So the discussion we had with Jean-Thierry and also Chris, let me show you. Oh. And we file issues for that. Issues. Now we have one PR with comments. So the PR is this one. Okay, so the idea of the PR was to add a layout tag to be able to change the layout, which is done. And it's done in a way, is there an example here? This is not the final version. There's something like layout and the name of the layout. So then we refactored some, talked about it last week, some filters to be tags like shape alternate because they are altering a shape. They are not creating a new one, so it's hard to make it as a filter, but now there are tags like this, shape alternate, shape type, and things like this. This is no more the case, and now we have something like, so the latest status of this thing is that, after some discussion with Chris and Jean-Thierry, is that as of right now, we have, if we want to display a shape, okay, there are three different usages that we'll see over and over. So model.contentItem being a content item, it's piped to shape build display to build the display shape of this content item, and we can pass display type optionally. So at this point, we have a display shape. Okay, and then we pipe shape render, which will convert this shape into its HTML, or it will evaluate the templates, and this HTML is then rendered in the output. Okay, if we have a shape directly, like a content zone on the content item shape, we can just say pipe shape render. Okay, very easy. And if we just want to render a part, it's the name of the part, or actually the name of the shape. This is the name of the shape, not the name of the part. Pipe shape render. So this is how we do things in the most common ways, from a content item to the shape to rendering it, from a zone shape to rendering it, or for a specific shape in a zone to rendering it. Okay, that's the main usage. And if you want to alter a shape by altering its alternates or removing shapes from a zone, there will be tags like, there are tags like shape remove item, shape remove alternate, shape alt alternate, and things like this, or shape clear alternate, and everything is documented. So to alter a shape, there are tags, and to render a shape, we use the output curly braces, okay, output tags instead of just simple tags. And that's the current status. Just waiting for Chris' approval on that because lots of back and forth for the syntax. And then we open 2 new issues based on that and solutions. Because after talking about how liquid works and the semantics and how easy it is to do things in liquid, so we decided to change how we can query content. So right now, to query content by alias, there is a filter, but we are going to this kind of syntax. So content will be a main object to access content, and then we can access a content item by its alias. Like, so the string here is an alias, and it happens that there is an alias with an alias prefix because it uses the alias part. So alias : main menu, and then we can have shortcuts like using the alias part, look for the alias, the content item with the alias part of value main menu, or with the slug /blog/ my post, for instance, from an auto route slug, or with this specific content item ID. Okay, so this is how we can query or get some specific content item. Then if we want to query content items, there is another issue for that. We will remove the query filters by adding a queries object and get the query by name. And then if we want to pass parameters, we'll use either this syntax or this other syntax, or both. We'll see in the order of what's been implemented. So for instance, latest blog post, and if you want to pass these parameters, this is using the liquid syntax again, so this is consistent, and there is no filter. And this is using properties like, let's say, link queries. This is different. Some people might prefer one or the other. Both are doable, and maybe we could also mix them if we want. And we can also pipe them if we use this syntax, so that's good. So we'll see. But this is the two proposals for the new syntax, querying and contents. Questions? Good. Last point, I have been working on also reviewing all the PRs, an update on the email module. So I looked at everything, I changed what I wanted to change, and it's ready. I just asked an editor for someone to test it, to try the API and everything. It should be super easy. There is a new, yes, from the PR. Where is that? There is an email SMTP service. ISMTP service, interesting. That email service, ISMTP service. Interesting. So ISMTP service that does just one thing: send async and a mail message. The mail message is a class coming from systemnet .email. Okay, no, there is no custom class anymore. We are using the standard one, and the default implementation uses SMTP client, and we have an admin screen to set the settings and also to test the settings by sending an email. So that's good and all works. I just asked for someone to try and create a controller to use the API to ensure it's working correctly with a normal SMTP server, just to have a second opinion on that. And then we'll merge it, which will unblock two other PRs, the workflow and the reset email settings. And this morning I've been working on standalone deployment. So just as a reminder, so self-contained .NET. And so there is an option when we deploy an app. So you can publish an app with which will include the .NET runtime. Oh, why is it redirecting me there? Okay. So when we do the .NET publish, there is a -- self-contained, and it will also require a runtime ID with this thing. So you can specify you want to publish for Windows, for Linux, or for whatever, and you will get an executable file with all the DLLs around that, so you can run the app without even needing to install the .NET Core runtime. Okay, and I'm working on that because there were issues with the current code from different reasons, like mostly the package references which are wrong or conflicting, so I had to fix that, and this is my next push, so we can do that. The user asked that, or for that yesterday, because he was using a hoster, a Linux hoster that doesn't install .NET by default and wanted to export using self-contained. So that would be a nice scenario also. And that's it. Questions? Topics? Comments? Bugs, issues? Good. Then this will be a short meeting. And to be continued next week. Thanks.